think I saw 13 different doctors before I was even 18, trying to sort out what I was dealing with. And when I did finally land with a provider that was able to help me with those things, it was a huge relief, but it still kept going from there. And I realized that it was something that I was going to deal with forever. And there wasn't going to be a moment that was like, okay, we've solved it. You're good. Do these things forever. And with my ankylosing spondylitis and that arthritis condition, the care is going to change as the disease progresses. And so it's going to be a constant thing in my life where I'm dealing with those illnesses and all of the medications and all the doctor's appointments. And this is coming from somebody who does have good insurance coverage. When I was young, I was covered by my parents until I got a job after college and I had insurance through them. But it was still a lot for me to deal with. Something that I think of a lot is the folks that don't have those privileges and those coverages, and how difficult that is for them to deal with too. So now, as a 30-year-old that has dealt with these conditions for a number of years, and finding out that there's more than just the ankylosing spondylitis, that I also have a heart condition and endometriosis and PCOS and all kinds of different things. And I've grown to learn how to navigate these systems pretty well. And it's still a really stressful situation. I'm on a crazy number of medications, and there's constantly check-ins with my different specialists on what is going to be the next step, or what's working or what isn't working, and have I exhausted an option that I had been on for a number of years and needing to go up to that next level of care. And there's a lot of emotional difficulty dealing with those things too, and just recognizing that I'm only 30 years old and I probably have the level of medical management of somebody in their 60s. And that sometimes can be a little bit of a brain craze just dealing with that. I've had surgeries now to deal with my endometriosis that obviously cost thousands of dollars. And again, that's with a really high level of coverage and support and insurance and different things. And my chronic arthritis treatment now is moving from a few pills a day to now some infusions that I know are the right steps for me to take, but it just kind of illustrates that this is going to be a continuous thing. And I've got to keep up with my doctor's appointments and getting the tests done and getting millions of vials of blood drawn over the years. But those things are necessary, and they're also a huge privilege that I even have access to them. I think a lot of folks that suffer with chronic illness would agree that it can often feel like a full-time job. And when you start having new issues and you know you have to address those new issues, it can be really difficult just to even remember to make the appointments that you need to make. And they are often on company time or, your 9 to 5. And so somebody like me who does want to be able to have a 9 to 5 or have a job that I enjoy going to every day and I am passionate about, I have to also balance my illness at the same time. I also suffer with ADHD, and that is another whole element to dealing with these things, where I have to make sure I put these appointments on my personal calendar and my work calendar and have a good rapport with my supervisors so they know what I'm dealing with, and not in too much detail, but just for them to be able to understand that I'm not just avoiding my job if I have to go to an appointment that might take 2 or 3 hours. If after that appointment they want to send me for blood work or x-rays or whatever test they might want to send me to. And I've been really, really blessed to have good relationships with the folks that I work with, where they don't feel like I'm taking advantage of them or using it as an excuse, but being able to give me that time and opening their calendars so I can flex things around. I take a number of medications, and it can be a headache just to deal with those symptoms and side effects as I start a new medication and things like that too. And so I think for a lot of us that suffer, it feels like we might be calling in significantly more than the average person for our work-life balance. And that can be really challenging. I think having the ability to advocate for yourself is very, very important. And it's something that's really hard for a lot of us to do because we know we're not the experts. We know the doctors are the experts, but the doctors can only do so much if they don't know what else is going on. So I'm on a pretty extensive amount of medications at this point in my treatment, just as I'm navigating from one level of care to another. And so when I have another issue pop up and I bring that up with whichever doctor is the right doctor to talk to about it, they might add another pill to my regimen, whether it's an everyday pill or an as-needed pill, and that makes it even more complicated. Nowadays, too, with different apps for different doctors, it's a lot easier for us to actually ask those questions and get a pretty quick response. Sometimes you might call your doctor and it might take a whole business day before they get back to you. But if you are able to message them on an app, you might get a quicker response. So there's definitely, I think, improvements in that realm of giving the patient the ability to have more knowledge about what is going on in their body. And all patients are different. I think I'm somebody that kind of likes the medical world enough that I want to ask those questions and I want to understand. But I have folks that I know that are dealing with similar issues, and they're fully trusting that their doctor is giving them all the information that they need. And so I think that's where things can be a little bit challenging if you don't know the right questions to ask. But I think that's why a pharmacist is usually the first person that you should ask those questions to.